Hey guys, are you curious about the real estate market in Middle Tennessee? Have you been asking your friends what's been going on, but feel like you're not getting the right answers? Well, you're in the right place. I'm Brian Atkins, and I'm about to deep dive into the latest trends in the real estate market in Middle Tennessee. Let's get it. If you stick with me to the end of the video, you might just learn a few things, and maybe you'll become that savvy friend who has all the answers. For those of you who don't really know Middle Tennessee all that well, I'll just do a quick rundown for you. As you would expect, it's roughly the middle portion of the state, and it's made up of 41 of the 95 counties in Tennessee. Okay, the middle is also the largest and most populated portion of the Grand Three Divisions. Nashville is the capital, and it's also the largest city in that portion, and that's followed by Clarksville and Murfreesboro. Middle Tennessee is actually pretty diverse when it comes to sectors driving the economy. You've got music and entertainment, automobile manufacturing, healthcare, and technology. Middle Tennessee has actually been reported to be one of the fastest growing economies in the United States, and where other states are struggling to keep their economy thriving, Middle Tennessee seems to shine. All right, most of you probably don't go hunting for charts and graphs to try and decrypt the complicated statistics, so I'm going to keep this brief and simple. First up, we're going to look at the median home prices for the last 3 years in Middle Tennessee. All right, here's the first bar graph, and what you're seeing is 4 notable counties: Murray County, Williamson County, Davidson County, and Rutherford County. Okay, just to get some context, let's rewind a little bit. In 2020, we all know that the lockdowns, the lost jobs, political chaos, and the deep stress about what the future may hold affected everybody. The pandemic and a lot of political division just about set the country on fire, literally. The feeling of reprieve was really needed in our country. Then 2021 came along, and the feeling of reprieve really didn't come. The pandemic felt like it was never going to end, and neither did uncertainty. Then you see something crazy happen in 2022. Look at the middle 4 bars on the graph. You see a huge spike in median home values. All 4 counties see median home values jump 20+%, and all the way up to nearly 30%. Americans from all over flock to Middle Tennessee in hopes to find some freedom, spending where their money would go further, and benefiting from interest rates that may actually never exist again. The real estate frenzy in Middle Tennessee catered to the most determined, and might I say the craziest buyers. The rest were left discouraged and exhausted, while the values continued to drive upwards. It really kind of felt like the Wild West for a little bit. Just a thought, I think maybe in 2023, we're either at the beginning of a huge downturn for reasons that I won't go into in this video, or maybe, just maybe, the market is actually starting to act normal again. Let me know what you think down in the comments. All right, getting back to the graph, you can see 2023's pace pump the brakes. Inflation, supply chain issues, and interest rates pushing over 7 quickly changed the environment of most of the country. That said, Middle Tennessee values have slowed down, but they've still seen a modest increase. This could be good and bad because rising values, interest rates, and inflation is kind of a cocktail for disaster. I personally think something's gotta give or the entire real estate market will come to a screeching halt. To go a little further on that point, let's look at the next graph, which is days on market. Do you see what I see? The days on market in the past few years in Middle Tennessee have left buyers, sellers, and agents heads spinning. Buyers had little time to react, sellers could barely sort through the mountain of offers they were getting, and well, agents, the experienced ones were cleaning up, while the new agents were left just as frustrated as the buyers who were all missing out. But now look at the graph. You see that in 2023, the days on market has tripled, and in some counties, even quadrupled. Even still, 12 days on market is pretty short, but it does give the buyers a little more time, less competition, and a tad more room to ask of the sellers instead of just being completely at their mercy. Overall, we're seeing less buyers in the market and less sellers in the market and less overall sales because people have become accustomed to sub 5% interest rates. When you really think about it, most sellers are actually buyers too, and most of them don't want to sell if that means buying another home at a much higher rate. All right, the last graph I'm going to show you is called months supply. This graph shows us how much inventory we have based on the number of sales per month. In the real estate market, 6 months supply indicates that it's a balanced market where neither buyer or seller have a particular advantage. If you go over 6 months supply, It's a buyer's market, and the buyer does have the upper hand in price negotiations and terms. The graph shows us that in 2021, all 4 counties had 3 to 4 months supply. This means it was a seller's market. In 2022, it became an extreme seller's market. The month supply dropped 30 to 50% in all 4 counties, leaving less than 2 months supply. Okay, now jump over to the portion of the graph that's 2023. You can see that 3 out of the 4 counties' month supply jumped by 80+%. Both higher interest rates and the increase in prices has slowed the market to the point where there's no longer the crazy deals or the sight unseen buyers. Thank goodness. So you might wonder, what is it that makes Middle Tennessee so resilient? Why is it that values are still creeping up when other areas are seeing serious decline? In short, Middle Tennessee is one of the country's most dynamic growth centers. The region's economy continues to be a key driver in business activity in Tennessee. Just look at the impact that healthcare, tourism and hospitality, advanced manufacturing, and music and entertainment have had in Middle Tennessee. That's almost 1 million jobs and about $160 billion pouring into our economy. Per capita, personal income in Middle Tennessee is nearly 20% higher than the rest of the state and over 8% higher than the nation's average. Because Tennessee shares a border with 8 states and is so centrally located, Middle Tennessee has a huge competitive business advantage. 75% of the US market is within a 2-hour flight. 12 million people live within a 3-hour drive, and there's just a 2-day trucking distance to 75% of the country as well. And 3 major interstates converge in Nashville. It's no wonder that Middle Tennessee is home to 5 Fortune 500 companies and 13 Fortune 1000 companies. Cultural diversity, unique neighborhoods, a variety of industries, and a thriving creative community make Middle Tennessee among the nation's top locations for relocating, expanding, and startups. Okay, so what should we expect going forward? What we do know is inventory is still down. What we also know is we are still seeing modest value growth. But what we don't know, but hope to see, is lower interest rates. Economists are predicting that rates will come down going into 2024. They're even predicting that rates could go as low as 5%. If that's true, we could actually see a pretty big uptick in buyer activity, which would trigger values to keep on going up as well. We could also see a lot of sellers enter the market, especially those ones who don't necessarily love the home that they're in. The problem is that 80% of homeowners right now have a 5% or lower interest rate. So a lot of sellers still may choose to wait. Ultimately, guys, change is coming. And so I would highly recommend that you go and talk to your lender to prepare for that change. Because if you're a buyer, you want to try and get ready about 6 months in advance. Speaking of preparing for change, I would love to dig deeper with you and help you prepare if you're looking into buying or selling in Middle Tennessee. After a decade in real estate and moving my business and family across the country, I know how it feels to face those great unknowns. I would really love to get face to face with you and dig into what your goals are, so please feel free to reach out to me anytime. All my information is in the description below. All right, let's wrap up this video with one last nugget of advice. Okay, this one's for the buyers out there. If you're on the fence, feeling worried, and just waiting for the rates to come down while you watch houses you love sell, consider this. You marry the home, but you date the rate. What I mean by that is that the market is a little bit slower right now, and you have a better chance at asking the sellers for closing costs, point buy downs, or lower prices to make up for the high rates. Right now is actually a strategically great time to buy, if you would just take the time to plan your approach. Okay guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I really hope that you learned something, and I really hope that you feel much more hopeful about the Middle Tennessee real estate market. If you had a good time, please hit all the buttons below, and we'll see you in the next one.